Hello, everybody. I'm very happy to greet you again at our next Excel and Elevate Masterclass. Today, we have one of the nicest topics of effective time management. And our speaker and trainer today is Anush Mkrtchyan from Armenia. Anush is a member of EENCE since its establishment, and she is a language and communications trainer with 9 years of teaching experience, both in formal and non-formal contexts. She has participated in about 20 training courses and seminars, as well as more than 30 international conferences, both as a speaker, moderator, participant, including the NICE conferences. And she has some publications also in Armenian international journals. And she has worked with people from diverse educational and professional backgrounds. Anush, the floor is yours. If I have missed anything, please add. Otherwise, let's go ahead and start the training for our EENCE members. Thank you.
Thank you, dear Tata, for your brief introduction. Everything was said, so I don't have anything else to add. I'm really very happy to see you today after such a long break, and I hope that others who couldn't make it can watch the recording later on and also benefit from this masterclass. Today, we are going to talk about time management, which is a very important topic for trainers, youth workers, facilitators, moderators, because we know that in the 21st century, everybody is working under pressure, and we need to juggle between different tasks. And so being able to manage our time wisely will give us a chance to avoid burnout and work productively. So now I will share my screen and we'll go ahead. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Now, so let's see what are our targets today. As you know, our masterclass will last only an hour, and today we'll try to meet the following targets. Well, first, we'll understand what time management is and why it is important. Then I'll give you 15 time management tips and work prioritization methods and models, and you can respectively choose the one which is more appropriate for you and for your profile. We will also understand what a state of flow is, because it's very, it refers to deep work rather than superficial work, and it refers to focusing. And at the end of the session, I'll give you time management apps and tools. And as a bonus, we will have a quiz at the end of the session to see how well we digested this topic and the information. So let's go ahead. I had a round of introductions, but I think as I know you, yes, as I know you, we can skip this part because we have been working with one another for a long time, so we can go ahead and skip this. First of all, some sayings and proverbs. In English, there are a lot of sayings and proverbs about time. I'm also interested in your native languages, because it is interesting to see if you have any sayings or proverbs in your native language about time. If you have so, please go ahead and say it, and you can translate it as well. Yeah.
Oh yeah, in Armenian there is one that I really like, which says time is gold.
Exactly.
Yeah, you should cherish it.
Yes.
That's an interesting one. And then time never comes back, something like that.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So you should use every second in a very wise way. I think that's enough for myself.
Yeah. Without any sayings?
Повторите задачу.
Do we have any sayings or proverbs in your native language related to time?
Татев, переведи, пожалуйста, чтобы я...
Какие пословицы или поговорки, или какие-то, не знаю, там смысловые такие обороты, которые используются для времени, да? Что такое время? Например, время не повернуть назад. Вроде этого, да? Или время золото.
In Armenian, we have time is gold, yes, as Tatev said. So,
есть какие-то такие
известные?
У
нас тоже есть про время золота, да?
Да.
Что-то похожее, точно.
Okay.
Что у нас про время?
All right, I will introduce some in English as well.
Мы напишем в чате.
Yes, yes.
Давайте.
In English, they also say time is money, just like our time is gold. They also say time and tide wait for none. I think this is also related to time never coming back. And also time is the soul of business. I know that language is the mirror of culture and mindset. And if we have all of these sayings in English, and not only in English, it means that time has a very important place in our lives, in our cultures. So we're going to have a very short activity now. Of course, we can also do it online, but you need to do the following so as to play. I want you to put your, I don't know, watches away, or if you have, of course, you have phone or laptop or something, but don't look at the time, please. And close your eyes. Close your eyes and open your eyes when you think that 1 minute has passed. But I cannot see without, so I cannot see when he opens his eyes. So if you don't mind, and you can turn your camera on or send a plus. Okay, let's go. Let's start now. Now, open your eyes when you think 1 minute is gone. Okay, thank you very much. I will give you the results. Actually, that have you opened your eyes somewhere during the 31st minute, second? 31st second, and without somewhere between 45th second. Which shows that this was a very simple experiment, but it shows one thing, that we experience time differently actually, and some perceive 20 seconds as longer than it is, some as shorter. And if we understand our perception of time, we will be able to better estimate our projects and our activities. So what is time management, and why do some people achieve much more with 24 hours during 24 hours and others can't? Of course, it's about good time management, but here the idea is to understand that everybody has got 24 hours. We don't have more or less time. Everybody has got the same amount of time. Time doesn't change. It is our ability to manage ourselves and what we do that matters. This is a very important focus because sometimes we think that time is not enough, but time is always equal for everybody. This is about our self-management rather than time management. And one important shift is that sometimes we need to change from activities to results, because being busy isn't the same as being effective. Sometimes people think that if they are busy all the time, they are also effective, but I think you know that it's not the case. And the idea is to work smarter, not harder. I think this picture is quite iconic, and it shows you that you can actually be very busy, spend a lot of time, but this is not about being effective. Time management skills help us to organize better. We also take charge of our time, professional and personal life. We don't miss deadlines, reduce stress and anxiety, and as I said, focus more, procrastinate less, and improve our performance and efficiency. That's why time management skills are important. Now let's go ahead and start with some time management tips. I have got 15 tips for you, but if you have any tips that you would like to share from the very beginning, let's start with your tips. Is there anything that you do to manage your time? wisely. Number one, the most important thing that you
Календарь.
do. Okay, good. Calendars, using calendars. I have that one. Anything for you, without?
Ты спрашиваешь сейчас про инструменты?
Что ты делаешь, чтобы вот время хорошо организовать,
manage.
свое собственное время организовать?
Ну,
Я-
стараюсь записывание задачи, потом распределение по приоритетам.
To-do list, prioritization. Okay, great. Yes, we have those ones. Let's start from the first one. The first one is about tracking your time. Actually, a lot of people don't know how they spend their time because they have never tracked it. I remember years ago, I didn't track my time either. And if somebody asked me how you spend your time, when you are more productive, or how many minutes you spent on your lunch, or I don't know, on chats or something, I wouldn't be able to answer. But then I started tracking my time, and knowing exactly how I spend my time helps me to be more productive. And because I understand how much time I spent on, for example, unproductive thoughts, conversations, activities, etc. And of course, it helps me understand the time of the day when I'm more productive. I think, for example, for me, it's not the morning hours, it's not the evening hours. I'm more productive in the afternoon. And it's very subjective. Everybody needs to understand this. That's why, people can be morning larks, early birds, night owls, and it's quite natural. The second tip is about minimizing distractions, which is really very hard, I know, especially in the 21st century when we are surrounded by technology. And Harvard Business Review shows that an average employee gets interrupted from 50 to 60 times a day, and 80% of those interruptions actually are not necessary. And as a result of this, we cannot achieve this state of flow. What is state of flow? We'll talk about it in a couple of seconds, at the end of the session, I mean. How can we minimize distractions? This is about blocking online distractions, turning off our push notifications, replying to emails, for example, 2 or 3 times a day, and not every time we receive this. I think this tip is used by different people, because if every time we receive an email, we reply to it, we will get distracted from the most important thing that we try to focus on. For example, I personally check my messages, social media, emails in clusters. For example, I take my phone, check everything, reply to everything, and then I put aside my phone for some time so as not to get distracted. And of course, some employees use this sign, do not disturb signal, which shows that they try to focus and they don't want their colleagues to disturb them. The next one is about multitasking. Do you multitask? Do you do different things at the same time? Do you think that it's energy draining? Yes, I agree that it is really energy draining, because when we try to focus on different things, we we scatter our focus and attention. The thing is, of course, trying not to check your phone first thing in the morning, which is really very hard. Prioritizing tasks, as Without mentioned, and I'll give you some prioritization models. Minimizing external distractions, and saying no to additional tasks. This is hard, especially for people who can't say no. I know there are some people who always say yes, no matter how busy they are. When they are given an additional task, they say yes, 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 I will do it, I'll do it. And at the end of the day, they are, overwhelmed, and they cannot manage all the tasks. So it's better to say no, or to delegate some tasks, or to schedule for a later period, just rather than to say yes to everything. To-do lists. Without also talked about it. To-do lists help you to prioritize, distinguish between important and unimportant tasks, keep track of the work done. I think it's really very pleasant, yeah, when you do something and you cross out the task and you feel that you have done something important. So you can keep track of it, you allocate time and also get your work done efficiently. There are different techniques for creating to-do lists. For example, I personally like creating, aesthetically beautiful to-do lists because they keep me motivated. This is really very subjective, but I like doing it. I also set deadlines for every task because in that case, this is more measurable for me. And I try to put this to-do list in front of me so that it's visible all the time and I can refer to it every now and then to see where I am. Let's move on to the next one, which is prioritization. Actually, I would like to talk about 3 prioritization models backed by research. Eat That Frog is the first model. Eisenhower decision matrix is the second model. And I would also like to talk about Pareto principle, 80-20 rule. Are you familiar with this? Yeah, great. So I think you can also help me with your input if you are familiar, and so your comments will be welcome as well. So the first one is Eat That Frog. So it might seem, I don't know, not so pleasant at first sight, but this method was developed by Brian Tracy, and he used actually Mark Twain's idea to develop this. What Mark Twain said. Mark Twain once said, if it's your job to eat a frog, so do it the first thing in the morning. If it is your job to eat 2 frogs, it's best to eat the biggest one first. And so Brian Tracy took this idea and developed it into, Eat That Frog method. What's the main thing here? It's identifying one important task for the day and doing it first. Some people say, it's demotivating when I know that it's more my important task and I start doing it early in the morning, I feel demotivated. Might happen. Sometimes it happens to me as well because it's better. But others feel that if they do the first thing in the morning, for example, they feel they have this sense of accomplishment later on. Does it work for you? Do you use this, or do you feel demotivated when doing the first thing?
I usually do the most important thing first because I'm
Okay.
a morning person and I prefer
Yeah.
to do the difficult tasks to get rid of them.
Okay,
and
yes.
have my mind cleared up for other mechanical work to do, but when I have lunch or after lunch, I'm sleeping, etc., etc.
So it means that you like this method and you use it. Eat That Frog. Without, do you use it too?
Ну, мне нравится это правило. Я скажу честно, что я не всегда ему следую. Да, конечно, есть дни, когда я сразу начинаю с сложной задачи и делаю, но чаще я люблю разогреться на каких-нибудь более простых, приятных мелочах, и только войти в ритм, и потом уже...
Me too, actually. That's why I know that the Eat That Frog method is really very hard. Yeah. Yuri is here. Hello. Good to see you again. Thank you for joining. I hope that you will gain, I don't know, some insights from this. Yes, you are on mute.
Hi, Anush. Let me speak in Russian.
Okay, sure. Go ahead. Yeah. No problem. So we talked about Eat That Frog. Let's go ahead and let's talk about Eisenhower decision matrix. I think you are also familiar with this one. Dwight Eisenhower, US president, once came up with this idea. He said, I have 2 kinds of problems, the urgent ones and the important ones. The urgent are not important and the important are never urgent. So again, this idea was developed into a matrix. So generally, if we think about our tasks, we can classify them into 4 groups. They can be urgent, not urgent, important, and not important. So if we do this classification, we see that if we have urgent and important tasks, we need to do them right now. If our tasks are important but not urgent, we can schedule a time to do it. So it's the second quadrant. If our tasks are urgent but not important, we can delegate them. Delegating is also another very important skill that we need to develop because we cannot manage everything. And if something is not urgent and not important, it means that it's not a good task. We need to delete and get rid of it. Actually, I cannot hear Yuri if he's on mute. Yeah.
Юр, подожди.
Okay. I think all right, I can go ahead. Oh,
Привет, Рима.
hello.
Мы тебя не слышим, Юр, если что.
Мы тут вдвоем слушаем.
Oh, great. That's
Да,
great.
еще Рима есть.
Hello, Rima. Thank you for joining.
Сегодня все подвоем слушают. Да. Под столом у меня иногда пробегает.
Do you use this matrix, Eisenhower matrix?
I have practiced delegating a lot due to my job, actually. I had to do that. It is really hard to develop that skill, and it takes time. Also time to work on yourself and to do the delegation. But at the same time, I think my most, let's say, interesting topic over here is this decide part. How to decide to delegate or not to, or how to organize the time, actually.
Yeah.
Можно я тоже на русском скажу?
Да, конечно.
Тут получается, что у меня какая есть беда, что когда у меня есть важные и неважные дела, то я сначала стараюсь делать неважное, откладываю важное, то есть сделаю все неважные, а потом вот уже, когда останется только важное дело, вот тогда я займусь важным делом. А этих неважных много-много-много, и никак не дохожу до важного. Вроде как все советуют начать с важного, но вот не получается.
Yes, we talked about it sometimes also, just like Without, I also do that because not important tasks are simpler, and so we want to do this first. That's why we have this temptation.
У меня тут бывают проблемы вот с сектором делегировать, да? Вот, и я понимаю, что вот мне с этим надо работать. Но еще к этой матрице я иногда так для себя в голове добавляю параметры приятное и неприятное. Да, иногда вот это важнее, чем срочное или важное.
Да, я согласна. Вот про приятное, I think it's about state flow of, and we'll talk about it a bit later because it's also very important to enjoy, not just do because you have to do it, but to also enjoy doing that. Thank you for your interesting insights. And the last model, I'm sure you know this too, 80-20 rule by Pareto. We'll see now how it got started and how we can use it in our everyday practice. So do you know this guy? This is Italian. He is Italian, Pareto. Actually, he is an Italian philosopher. And he came up with this 80-20 rule. How? The legend says that once he was like observing his garden and he understood that only 20% of his, pea plants give 80% of the harvest. And he tried to generalize this rule. He tried to see how the economy works, how everything works around us. And he understood that 80% of the result usually comes from just 20% of the action. Let's see it in other contexts. According to this Pareto principle, for example, 20% of the sales representatives generate 80% of total sales. 20% of customers account for 80% of total profit. 20% of the most reported software bugs, for example, cause 80% of software crashes. Tatev, I think this question is for us. How many shoes do you own, and how often do you grab the same 20%? Yes? Or if, yeah, it's true, right? We might have a lot of pairs of shoes, but we usually stick to some. And of course, when we talk about how we spend our time, we can see that we spend 80% of our time with the same 20% of people, family members, friends, etc. So observing all of this, Pareto came to this 80-20 principle, and we can use it in time management tool. So we need to understand what 20% of our work drives 80% of outcomes. We can determine this and delegate the rest, or just simply let them go. Do you think this can be useful in your practice, 80-20 rule?
Конечно. Эти все три метода очень разнообразны в жизни. Вот видишь, что каждый в своей мере влияет на твое тайм-менеджмент. Да?
Правильно.
В зависимости от того, чем занимаешься.
Да.
Все равно вот есть.
Например, если if I have a very important project or creative task, for example, if I need to develop a training course, I know that 80% of my 20% of my actions will give 80% of the results, because you know this is a very deep work. So yes, it depends on that. Okay, let's go on. The next kind of model or tip refers to scheduling your breaks. It might seem counterintuitive. You might ask, why do we need to schedule our breaks? Breaks come naturally, but again, research shows that scheduling breaks can also help you schedule your tasks in general. And there are, again, 3 methods that I would like to introduce. Okay, let's move on. These are the Pomodoro technique, 90-minute work blocks, and 52-17 rule. The first one, as you can guess, is the Pomodoro technique. Have you ever heard of it? Okay, so I will introduce it now. You can see that on the picture, in the picture, you see a kitchen timer, yeah? So it's related to this. Again, we see that Italians are very active here. Francesco Cirillo developed this method in late 1980s. The technique uses a timer to break down, work into intervals. And these intervals are traditionally 25 minutes in length. He used his kitchen timer, which is Pomodoro, tomato in Italian. And so he used it as a university student. Let's see how it works. There's the following steps that we need to follow. First, we pick a task. That's our step 1. Step 2, we set our timer, 25-minute time period. Work on the task until the time is up, but we work without any distractions. Then when the time is up, we take a 5-minute break. And then we repeat this every 4 Pomodoros. And after that, we have a longer break from 15 to 30 minutes. So the idea is to focus on something for 25 minutes, then 5-minute break, 25, 5, 25, 5, and then a longer break. Some people think that this is short for them. Others think that no, they have very short attention span and that it works for them. Do you think that it's short, or do you think that you can manage something within 25 minutes?
I can do very productive meetings.
Good. Yeah.
With my employees, let's say.
Yes.
And I usually schedule, it is a practice of this last 2 years when I turned to working online. So it made me to review the time I'm spending online. So my meetings are either 45 minutes for me to have 15 minutes back for making notes or analyzing or just recording the tasks or whatever I may need to do creatively, or 25 minutes with 5-minute break before another meeting if I have it scheduled.
Good. Very nice. Lovely. So if you think that this is short for you and you cannot do deep work during 25 minutes, you can use this 90-minute block because research science has proven that our brain can focus on something like for 90 minutes at optimal levels. Then we need a break, and roughly 20-minute break. So this is called rest activity or work rest activity cycle. So if you really feel that you cannot focus on something for 25 minutes, use this one as well. And there's also one method in between. This is 52-17 rule. Again, it's based on the findings that we have shorter attention span, and after working for 52 minutes, we can take a 17-minute break to, relax our brain. This also helps us to focus and at the same time achieve something.
А можно спросить, Ануш, то есть вот тут 52-17, то есть, видимо, были исследования, которые говорят, что вот именно столько минут там,
да,
это
правильно.
важно. То есть это основывается это правило, видимо, на каких-то серьезных исследованиях физиологии мозга, да?
Exactly. There was research that showed that we can, the maximum period is 90 minutes. That's why, for example, when we have lectures or something, we have this 90-minute blocks, then we have breaks. And also a shorter period is 52 minutes, and this is 50 minutes when we have lessons. Yes, again, using this research and findings that longer periods without break can be really very hard for us as human beings. Yeah, great. So these were the 3 techniques for scheduling our breaks: Pomodoro technique, 90-minute work blocks, and this rule as well. Let's move on. Do you think that something is important for you to follow in the future, and you will follow this in the future, or you will experiment with this? For example, I have never tried, frankly speaking, this one, 52-17. I have tried Pomodoro, and I have tried 90-minute block, but I have never tried this one. But I think it will be a good idea to give it a go. What do you think?
I should try this one. I have never heard about that. At least the 2 ones were kind of intuitively, I had used that. 2 previous ones, but this one I have never heard. And if you do not mind, Anush, I have one thing that I would like to share in chat.
Of course.
An Amazon link for a book that I really like. It is called 9 Minutes Monday.
Okay.
It's called 9 Minutes on Monday, and it is really a quick an easy way to organize your work as a manager or a leader, because usually these people are in terrible conditions of making sure they have time for everything, for strategy development, for people management, for organization goals, and etc. And this one is one of the best sellers. So I have tried it. I have quit it actually doing that, but I have already embedded in myself some of the rules of it.
Okay,
So
great, Jonathan. Yes, if you share, I think we'll appreciate that. And I'll also have a look, because today I will also introduce some other books, but that one also interested me.
Thank you.
Thank you too. Okay, the next tip refers to inspiration. Sometimes, for example, I personally also say, I'm not inspired. I have no motivation to work, and it can last forever, yes, I don't want to do anything, and so etc. But we cannot afford to do that. And here I'd like to introduce 2 quotes again. We will never be always motivated. Yes, sometimes we need to be just disciplined. And also Aristotle says we are what we repeatedly do, and excellence is not an act but a habit. So sometimes if you feel that you are not motivated or inspired to work, okay, you can give yourself a break. But if you think that it takes too long, I think it's time to get disciplined. Organizing desk, task lists, inboxes. What do you think? Are you an organized person? Do you regularly, organize your desktop, your desk, or no, everything, is in a mess?
80%.
Organized. Good.
Yes.
I usually talk about this tip in face-to-face seminars, and I give 2 decks of cards with 22 cards, and one deck of card is, shuffled and everything is messed up there, and the next one is in order. And I ask them to find the ace, the ace of spades, and the one which is, in order, they usually find it very, very quickly and show it. And in case of the second deck, everything is really very hard and it takes more time to find the ace of spades. So, and I show using this experiment that this organization can cost your very valuable time and effort. I personally clean my desk. I keep only those things that I need at that moment. And I also try to label my shelves, my baskets, my boxes. And I also organize my desktop really into files, into folders. And also emails. Every now and then I try to clean everything, delete unwanted emails, unsubscribe from something that I don't need. And in this case, I save a lot of time, actually. When you feel stuck, actually a couple of minutes ago, I talked about feeling stuck, and when you feel you are demotivated, I said you need to be disciplined. But sometimes when you feel stuck, you cannot do anything. As I said, it's better to just let it go for some time only, not for longer periods, but for some time, because it can be an obstacle in the workflow and it can slow you down. If you just leave it aside for some time, do something else, you can come back to it. So try this as well. Skip when you feel that you are stuck, but only for some period. Don't make it a habit. Tip number 10 is about communicating your workload with your team. If we are working in teams, people depend on our schedule, on our to-do lists. We can also tell them about it so that they know when we are available, when they can have meeting with us, when they can clarify different issues with us, and how they can adjust their schedule so as not to disturb us, but to cooperate with us. Delegating. We talked about delegating. Actually, it's a very hard thing to do, but delegation helps people on different levels. Delegation helps you as a manager because you are less stressed, you manage your time better, and you trust your employees when you delegate. Yes, you give them some kind of authority. For employees, they get more knowledge and skills, they develop it, they also develop their confidence, and they get motivated because you trust it's something important. And for the organization in general, you develop teamwork, productivity, and efficiency, and the overall job satisfaction and innovation in your company, in your organization. So I think that in this case, you can also watch videos by Richard Branson. I watched his videos about delegation. He's talking about the art of delegation, saying that you need to learn it early on because actually it will help you develop yourself, your employees, and your organization. The next one is about checking your emails once or twice a day. And here I would like to ask you, how many times a day do you usually check your email?
Constantly.
Constantly? And do you reply constantly? Like you got an email, do you reply to it immediately?
Per the job responsibilities, yes, I have to do that because I have KPIs to meet.
Okay.
So I have to reply to them within at least 1 hour. That's
all right. Yes, I see. So of course, it also depends on your job profile, but if you constantly check your email, so it might distract you from, very important projects. As per McKinsey, an average professional spends 28% of their workday reading and answering emails. In your case, Tatev, I guess it's longer because actually it's your job. So you can turn off your notifications if you can afford that and reply to your emails only twice a day or 3 times a day. You can set time periods. But make sure that you communicate this to your team members so that if there's something very urgent, they can reach out to you. If you are done with your to-do list, you can be proactive and prepare another to-do list for tomorrow. That's another tip. And finding a mentor. I think we can find people who are gurus in time management, and sometimes we wonder how these people manage so much, yes, how they set their targets. And we can ask them to be our mentors, and they can guide us, for example.
Anush, today there are lots of applications which are embedded into calendars, mobile apps that are kind of online mentors.
Yes.
And if you install them, they see the beginning of the day and end of your day. Let's say I'm starting from 9 and finishing at 6. So the calendar itself is already booked by this application. For rest your eyes option, for having lunch, or productivity work time period for others not to block your calendar. So so many things appeared during these last years because of the remote work.
Yeah.
So it's quite
Absolutely.
outstanding.
Yeah, I will introduce some apps at the end of the session. If you know others, you can also talk about them, Tatevjan. The last thing is about state of flow. This idea was introduced by a Hungarian-American psychologist, Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi. Actually, it's hard to pronounce his last name, but he is one of the co-founders of positive psychology, and he researched this. What is in general state of flow? State of flow, as the word itself tells us, it's the process when you don't notice anything else. You are just focused on something. You don't notice time. You don't notice the outside world, and you focus on something very, very important. And in that case, you even forget about your ego. You forget about time. Yes. For example, during training sessions or something, I know that I experience this state of flow. I forget about many other things. Some people say that this is when they, for example, do when they do experiments or do research or read articles. Everybody needs to find this state of flow because it is not about superficial work, it is about deep work. And state of flow is achieved when you, as Vitaut said, not only have to do something, but you want to do it. You are keen on that. You select to do it because you know that it is good for your career eventually. You like it, you get satisfaction. It is challenging for you, but it's not at the same time really very tough. You can manage it, and you select a time when you are productive, you are concentrated, and get rid of distractions and do this. In the meantime, I can also show you this book. It's also called Deep Work. Rules for focused success in a distracted world. I'm reading it right now and I find it really fascinating. It's about different techniques on how to focus on something, not just do it superficially, but focus. And so if you like it, I can also, share the link to this book. Any other tips? I'm done with the tips. If you have any other tips, I would love to hear them.
Found the book link in Amazon and I shared in the chat.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Tatevjan. Do you have any other tips that I didn't mention or didn't talk about those?
No, as I mentioned, it's more about now the change of mindset of people, how they perceive the time when we have turned into online working or remote working, or more we had to do that, let's say. And it has changed the level of productivity for some people. For other people, it is the less productiveness when they are not in the office space or communicating with others. So it's a tricky thing. The time management has become a very difficult thing to establish and to follow.
Yes,
actually.
absolutely. I agree, but we can at least try to make some changes and experiment, like give it a try. Why not? To see which one works in our profile. Okay, we are little by little, we're coming to the end. We have got 15 minutes. So as I said, I will introduce some apps, tools that you can use to manage your time effectively. The first one is, of course, calendar, using your calendars because you get reminders and everything. I'm sure you do it. The next one is todoist.com. Actually, I explored this website and I found it quite fascinating because here you can, schedule and plan not only your day, today, for example, you can plan 7 days ahead. You can plan personal activities and tasks, professional ones, everything. You can also have different plans. You can set a time period, and it's free, so you can try it, and you can also link it to your calendars. The next one is Focus Booster app. Why I like it? Because it also has got the Pomodoro method. So if you want to try that, you can install this Focus Booster app. Again, it's free. The next one is Remember the Milk. The name is really very funny, but it's as the motto says, it's a to-do app for busy people. Again, you can schedule different things here for different time periods. Then Trello, I also like it. It's also useful when we have collaborative tasks and reminders. We get all of this, and it's like a to-do list in front of us. Yeah.
Online version.
Yes, exactly. Do you use this?
Yes, I use it.
Yeah.
Onboarding specifically, or for some tasks for new hires.
Yeah, I also love it because
очень часто не хватает, скажем так, дисциплины поддерживать его. Обычно с энтузиазмом начинается, ведутся задачи, но на каком-то моменте это все начинает умирать, потому что, как-то нету привычки пользоваться регулярно этим инструментом. У меня тоже.
Да, мне кажется, что тут еще есть такой как бы эффект колеи, когда ты вот начал с какого-то одного инструмента, уже в нем разобрался, что-то привык, и переходить на что-то новое, сложно, потому что в том уже много чего сделано, много записей, хотя что-то новое всегда появляется на самом деле.
Yes, I agree. Although I think that, yes, as we said, this is about Aristotle's, repeated action. When we make it into a habit, it becomes a consistent, habit for us. But for the very beginning, it's really very hard. I personally use Trello, calendars, and also Focus Booster app. Okay. Now, we have got our final thoughts, and as I promised, we have a quiz. It's really very short. There are only 5 questions there, but it's really fun. Would you like to play?
Запускай.
Okay, I'm sharing the link in the chat now. 1 second. All right, how to stop sharing? Can you see my screen now?
No.
No? 1 second. Okay, I shared the link. When you join, you will have to write your names. Yes, I can see you, Datev. I have shared my screen actually.
Что-то надо будет делать.
You will see the question related to time management and then 4 answers. And you will have to choose the right answer. Kiri, are you joining?
А что надо делать?
I haven't
Сейчас вопросы
started
будут.
yet.
Там появится у тебя ответ, ты должен выбрать
А вопросы на экране, да, ответ. Ну, как этот, как его, Kahoot почти.
Как Kahoot, да. Но тут you need also to be quick, but you can also think because it doesn't stop. You don't have time limit, but the quicker you are, the better. Okay, I don't see Yuri, but if you are ready, we can start. Or shall we wait for you, Yuri?
А это только на телефоне можно или на компьютере тоже?
Нет, на компьютере тоже.
А мне вот эту штуку нужно открыть, да, вот это Join My Quiz, да, и номер.
Смотри,
No.
в чате линк есть.
В чате есть, да?
В чате, да, заходи по ссылке.
Сейчас. One moment. Сейчас. Есть.
So, let's start. You will see a question, 4 answers. You choose the right answer, and then we'll identify the winner. Ready?
Yes.
Let's go.
А переведите, кто этот вопрос второй. Быстрее.
Второй?
Да.
Я не вижу. Ну, секундочку. Когда у вас есть хороший тайм-менеджмент, что вы можете сделать? We can?
Ладно, не успел, да.
Нет?
А третий? Понимаю.
А сколько вопросов?
5, только 5.
Я гадаю, потому что не успеваю переводить. Опять не угадал. Ту-ду-ду-ду.
There's a tough competition between Datev and Yuri. Okay, let's identify the leaders now. Datev, you are the winner today. Congratulations.
Because I know English.
Я
Yes.
просто дольше читал.
Я вообще не
I think,
успевал. Мне надо
yes.
больше времени на чтение, да.
I think Datev just was quick, but Yuri, you didn't have any mistakes either. So great job, actually, great job. Of course, this was for fun and also for summarizing all of this. I will stop again screen sharing and come to the end because we have only 3 minutes left as far as I can understand. Yeah. So I would like to conclude with the following saying. The way we spend our time defines who we are. That's why I would like to thank you for spending your time with us, with me, with your colleagues. And I think this was kind of important and interesting investment. And thank you very, very much. I really enjoyed your participation, your collaboration. If there are any questions, I will be delighted to answer them. Thank you.
Thank you, Anush.
Thank you, Anushjan. It was really, really great training. One of the best ones during our masterclass series.
Oh, thank you.
Вита,
Yeah.
мы же можем выложить запись, да?
Да, мы выложим. Я уже
Договорились, да.
записываю, да.
By the way, these are the references I used, the books, the materials, the articles. So if you're interested, you can also check out these links. Thank you very, very much. I really hope that others will also benefit from this masterclass by watching the recording and asking me any questions if they have.
Thank you, Anushjan.
Thank you all.